Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and do our Tuesday for this week. We're going to be working on lash tabbing, a continuation of yesterday, but we're going to do lash tabbing on a lash strip. So I'm going to show you how to practice your lash tabbing application using what you have in your kit and a very inexpensive way. That way you can do it anytime when you're at home. You don't have to necessarily wait to have someone in front of you to be able to practice this. Now you can use this technique on a mannequin should you want to practice with trying to make it a little bit more real world with a mannequin head, or you can just practice on your tray and on the back of your hand as we will be doing today. Okay, so I want to go ahead, let me pull out my tape because I forgot something. Okay, so we're not going to be taking any notes for today. Okay, we've already taken our notes, but let's go ahead and we're going to go over our notes very quickly, just revisit them, okay, just so we have that fresh in our mind. So you do need your notes. You're not going to be cutting, pasting, or writing anything down, but you do need your notes, okay? You don't need your stick card. I have it just because I'm going to show you how to save your lashes, okay? These I would not use on a person or yourself because they've already been handled. They've already been put on paper, things of the sort. They're not clean or sanitary to use on someone. But this is just to, to practice and play with, okay? So I'm going to show you how to save these because they're so good. You can still practice with them, okay? So I have these, and then in doing so, you have your little cup, okay, where you can put those in. You have your lash glue that you'll be needing today. You don't need these. This is just, we're going to refer to it as an example. You don't need those today, okay? You need, and then this was from yesterday, so I'm going to transfer these to the cup to save them. We're going to need your other, so yesterday we had cut this in half. Okay, you need the second lash, okay? You need your tape. You need a lash ring or glue ring. You need one of these little applicators. You could use a mascara one, but I'm going to show you the difference with those two. You need your tweezers and your scissors, okay? So these are the services that you're going to, or the supplies you're going to be needing today. All right, so just let's go really quickly review our notes from yesterday with our lash tabbing. Lash tabbing are the clusters. This is the 552 technique, okay? With 12 lashes, an enhancement from the corner to the middle. You want to make sure to stay away from the outer corners. Start from the outside, work your way in. First layer is 5 lashes. You're looking for the V in between, the point of the flare, okay, to touch. Once you have applied the first layer of 5, you want to go ahead and apply the second layer, starting on the inner, not the outer corner. Okay, working your way in towards the middle of the eye, and that's 5 lashes. And then your third layer is 2 lashes, one on either side, making sure to avoid that very tip corner as to not irritate the eye and make it water, and then the lash fall out. Okay, so that's our technique. Keep that in mind. Keep that note to the side. What we're going to do is we're going to be doing that on this strip lash. Okay, I'm going to show you how to practice. Okay, so really quick, I'm just going to go over, this is the little container. This is the individual lashes that we're going to be working with, but I stuck the strip on the lid so that way they wouldn't bend or get messed up. Whenever you're done working with your lashes, if you don't want to put them or can't put them or they've lost their stick back on the tray, what you can do is you can place them in your container. Okay, and you can either place them if they still have stick on the side of the container, like the side wall of the container, as you can see there, okay? Or you can just dump them in the container and then figure out, the pulling and sorting out of them later. Okay, so you can do that too. It's up to you. But I would definitely save my clusters just because why not save them, okay? All right, so what we're going to do, we're not going to This is the side. This is just for reference. We're not going to be using this. This is just for reference. So again, if you don't have your notes, if you didn't bring them, keep this for reference, and you're creating the spacing, okay, that we practiced yesterday. Keep that same spacing as you're applying the layers. Okay, so we're not using this. This is just for reference. So you can keep that to the side. Okay, so as you are applying your lashes, if you were to use a mascara wand or spoolie, you can brush the lashes this way from the top, or you can come in from the bottom. The only bad thing is that sometimes if the glue is not completely dry and you just come in and you scoop underneath and you roll up, and you can see how I'm lifting this way like this. Sometimes when the glue is not dry, unfortunately, they will get stuck. The lashes will get stuck in these bristles, and the wand will pull the lash tabs out. So if you have this small applicator and it has a little fuzzy tip, okay, kind of like a Q-tip per se, you can use this to separate and to brush gently. Of course, it's not a brush, so it doesn't have bristles, so it's not going to separate perfectly, but this works better because it's a smaller surface to work with. It's more gentle, and you can come to the bottom and you can pull on the bottom of the lash to brush that lash tip out as well, okay? So either one of the two you're comfortable with is fine. Sometimes when you're doing like a primer, applying a primer or a setting product, you use this because you can soak up the product with this cotton tip, or it's not cotton, it's like material. You soak it up with that tip and then you apply the product. You can get pretty close to the lash line, okay? This, because they're plastic bristles, it would be difficult to apply product with the mascara one, but we have that to the side. Okay, so what we're going to do, there's two ways you can do this if you don't necessarily want to save the lashes, okay? Here, we're going to cut these off. Okay, so we're cutting these lashes off here. Okay, you can save the lashes so that way you have these fibers that you can practice with for a later time. I prefer to save them just because I like to save everything. I'm going to flip this around for 2 seconds. Well, let's see. I'm going to be using these lashes from yesterday here in just a second. And if you didn't save them, no worries. You can use these, big deal, okay? And if you don't have those, grab you another lash. Okay? Hey guys, alright, so we're going to get started for today. Let's see what happened here. All right, I apologize for that. That was my double. I was loading a video and it stopped. It was finished and it automatically plays. So I'm sorry, it played in the background. Okay, so we're going to use these supplies here in just a second. But I need to remove my lashes from here like I was saying. So if you've thrown these away, just grab you another lash strip because I think you're going to have 2 extra. You had 5 total. I think you're going to have 2 sets extra. So just grab you another lash strip. Okay. So what we're going to, and if you don't have that, what you can do is just very gently, don't cut right at the lash, the band. Leave a little stick, but then you can cut your lashes. Go this way. My scissors are so dull. I need to sharpen them. So it's going to be hard for me to cut this. Yeah, they're not going to cut. So I'm going to have to use, excuse me, I'm going to have to use these ugly scissors. And that's going to be pretty hard because I'm going to have to bend my thing here. So you can bend your plastic. So I'm pulling my plastic back like this. Okay, and I'm going to cut my lashes. Now when I cut my lashes, I want to grab a paper. You can use your note. And I'm going to pull the plastic back and I'm going to cut my lashes as close to that base as possible. Yeah, see, these scissors are good. I need to sharpen my other ones. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting, okay? And try to get as smooth of a curve as you can. And just bend that plastic, no big deal. And try to get as even lines as you possibly can. If it's not perfect, no big deal, but that's what you want, okay? And then just bend your plastic back. Now, all of these little lashes, you can throw them away should you choose, okay? Or if you want something like this to practice, these come in, well, nowadays they come in strips. Before they invented these strips, which are a lot easier, the lashes, this is how the lashes would come. And so you would have to take, when you would do lash extensions, you have to take your tweezers and you would have to pick up each individual lash to place it on the client's natural lash. They still sell them like that. But if you want to save your lashes, what you can do is just pour them into your container. Because this is just for practice, okay, you now have your lashes in there and you can use those to practice. You're not using these on a client or yourself, okay? So let me put this for a white reference here. Okay, so use those scissors. Also, to side note, we're practicing here. Okay, we're not working on a client. We're not going to put these on a client or yourselves. These are just regular office scissors that I have here in the office. Craft scissors per se. These are not clean. Okay, I'm not saying they're dirty, but they're not sanitized. Okay, I've not sprayed them down, washed them with soap and water, disinfected, sterilized, sanitized, all that good stuff. So you want to make sure that when you're working with your tools, especially when you're working on a service or you're going to be putting something on someone's body, that all of your tools like these are clean, they're sanitized, okay, and actually they're sterilized. So you want to make sure that your supplies are just for that service, that you're not going to get the kitchen scissors to do this on a client, okay? But since we're just practicing, no big deal. Okay, so I just take this tray. Okay, we call them the trays. I'm just going to leave it as so. If you want to straighten it out, you can, but you definitely want to keep the tray tabs, these two, because what you're going to do is you're going to, and sorry, my arm's a little hairy there. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be taping this on your hand. Now, I prefer this way for my hand to be, but some people like it this direction and some people prefer it at a corner. It doesn't matter really, but this is how I like to place mine. Okay, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our tape. Now it's a special tape. Okay, I don't have it on a dispenser, so you can use your scissors to cut. So I'm just going to take, since it's new, we're taking this tab, and I'm going to take the length like so. And I'm going to take two pieces of tape, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my tape on the back of my tray here, and then I'm going to put another one on the front underneath the lashes, making sure that my lashes are not covered by the tape, okay? So I'm going to stick we're good there, okay? There we go. And if by chance you move the band and your lashes are flat to the side of the curve, you can just roll your applicator and lift up the lash fibers. And if you've got like some crazy, I don't think this is going to cut. This is where you need those little scissors to come in handy. I really need to sharpen these. That's not going to cut at all. So, man, I'm going to have to use these, sorry. You want to get it as even as possible, so then that way it's an easier application. All right, good enough. I'm not going to be too picky. I typically would, but okay. Time is of the essence. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I guess I'll corner it. I'm going to try it that way. I always like the other direction, but let me try it this way. Okay, so I'm going to apply that with the tape, okay? This is skin adhesive, so it won't irritate. If you feel you need more tape, you can definitely come in. If you're feeling that your tray is popping up, you can definitely come in and add more tape on the corners should you feel that to be necessary, but you don't have to. All right, so that's that. We're going to take our ring, okay? Now, some people like the ring on the thumb. Some people like the ring on the pinky, and it just kind of depends on where you want it, okay? So I'm going to take my glue. Okay, I'm going to give it a good little shake and a good little squeeze to blend it, mix it around in there. I feel like a mess here. I've got lashes all over the place. So I'm going to take my stick card that I worked on yesterday. And if you don't have your lashes lined out this way, it's okay. If you're working from your container, not a problem. So I'm going to have my tweezers. Okay, I'm gonna have my little, I'm gonna call it my brush, and I'm gonna have my lashes ready to go. So I'm gonna take my glue. I'm gonna pour a little bit, so you wanna do a little bit at a time. This is the white iridescent glue, so you can't really see it on camera. I'm done with all this other stuff, so I'm gonna get out of the way. Okay, so if you're picking out of your container, just pick your lash, okay? And what you're going, oh, I lost that one. There it goes. What you want to do is you want to hold the lash properly. So I'm holding the lash with my flare away from me because when I place it down, the flare needs to go away. If my lash, let me turn my hand over. If it was this direction, my flare would be facing the proper direction, okay, the way that I would hold it. If the client is facing me per se, and let's just use this one as an example, and my flare needs to come this way, then I need to hold my tab with my flares towards me. Okay, so keep in mind the direction that your flare should be going. Okay, so I'm going to take my first flare. Again, I'm going to do the 10-10 method. Decide whether you're doing the left eye or the right eye. So I'm going to start here on the right hand side, assuming that the nose is on this side. Okay, so I'm going to dip the tip of my tab, okay, where the band is. I'm going to dip it in the glue, and I'm going to leave space for that orange rectangle, the little orange square. We're going to leave that space, and I'm going to apply my lash. I'm going to kind of push the lash tab down. I'm going to swoop to cover that section with glue, and then I'm going to lay it down. Okay, remember, don't use the tip of your tweezers to push down. Use the back if you're going to push down. And when you push down, you don't push down on the glue because then this is going to get sticky and then your lash is going to come out and it's stuck on here. So you just use on the hair, okay? So if you're working here, you want your flares to go that way because your flares are going this way. It's a lot easier to pick it up. So you're going to grab your tab, okay? Dip your glue, and again we're working and looking at the tip of the flare to touch. Okay, well that one's missing some fibers, and on your little sections that you had previously cut, if you have a big band, no worries. Okay, it's no worries at all. These are very thin. I think when I was working with them yesterday, I pulled out some of the fibers, so the corners are not really touching on these, but they should be touching. These are better. Okay, so I'm going to continue. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. These are better flares. The first ones were not very good. Okay. 1, 2, and then these I wouldn't use on a client. Okay, I definitely want to make sure that the product that I'm using on the client is worth the time I'm spending on it. It is not worth, I would just throw that away. Okay, just because the flare is not a very good lash. Okay, it's not a good look. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time I get to the middle, I'm ready for my next section. So that's one layer. Okay, then I'm going to go and dip and go in between. I'm going to apply the glue, scoop it down a little bit, drop my lash down, and let go. My second one, I'm going to apply the glue, swoop it down a little bit to kind of smear the glue over the natural hair, natural lash. And then this is number 3. Then we have number 4. And then, whoops, I moved that one. Use the back of my tweezer to push that in on the fibers. One thing I want to point out, if you're right-handed, your supply should be on the right-hand side. If you're left-handed, your supply should be on the left-hand side. So I'm going to apply this one, and I'm going to push the down at the fiber side. So if you're right-handed, all your supplies should always be here on the right, just so it's easier going this way. You don't want your supplies to be on the left, because then you're having to cross over, and over time, this repetitive motion will hurt your back and your shoulder. So you want this motion here. It's a lot easier than this motion here. Okay? All right, so that was my second layer. So I just need 2 more, one on each outer ends. My tape keeps popping up there. It's cold in this room, so it's not working with me. And if you notice, look, I'm done, and then look how much glue, and you probably can't see on the camera, but look how much glue is left over. have tons of glue left over, so you don't need a lot of glue. So as you're learning, as you're practicing, you're gonna learn not to waste your product, okay? Don't waste it. Okay, all right, there you have it. Obviously, because there's no lashes here, right? That looks ridiculous. You would never do that to a client. So with this particular, you continue applying your lashes all the way through. But because we're following yesterday's diagram from the corner to the middle of the eye, this is what that would look like. From here, what you would do, and that's not these scissors you're going to cut. Once this dries, right, you allow the client to open the eye, make sure that's not stuck on the bottom lash. Okay, make sure your client doesn't open their eyes at any point of this. You want to then take it and you want to cut any little, oh, I pulled it, the glue wasn't done. That was my fault. The glue's still wet. And now it won't come off. So you want to make sure, let me put some more glue on that it's dry. Want to make sure it's dry. And you want to make sure you come back in and you blend your natural lash with your artificial lash, just like, and let me show you in the picture, or in your notes, may refer back to it. Here where we cut and blended with a point cut, you want to make sure to do that, okay? You want to make sure that you're blending it so you don't let your client leave looking all crazy. So there you go. You're done. You have your first layer of 5, second layer of 5 in between, starting from the inside, not the outside, the inside of the first layer tab, and then the 2 on the outer corners on your third layer. Okay. With this, you can practice going all the way across, should you choose, or you can continue going across all the way if you choose. If not, this will be just fine. So because we did not take any notes today, you're not going to have a picture of your notes. You're just going to have a picture of this here. You can do your finished result as fine. So if you just were to take a picture of this, that's what you're going to put in your PowerPoint slide for Tuesday. Okay. Clean up. Whenever you're done, this little container of glue, you throw it away. This is not reusable, okay? So this would be thrown away for trash. If you don't want to throw it away because you want to save it, you want to clean it because you want to use it to practice, you do not use this on a person, okay? Unless you would go back and wash that and sanitize that, but you don't use it on a person, okay? You can just keep it for practice in your practice toolkit. But you have some more in your little kit that you picked up. Okay, so from here, you're done. And so you can see how you have done the placement of the lashes. Okay. That's what we have for you today. You want to, whenever you're done, the glue is going to be pretty, well, when it's dry, it's going to have be a little difficult to remove the glue from these the strip lash depending on the obviously the quality of the glue. So from here, if you want to recycle as you're practicing, again, not on a person, but if you want to recycle, you can just cut the lashes off again, and then you can put them in your container, and then you have lashes to practice with, not to apply to client, but to practice with. And then the same way that you're creating this strip lash, okay, is the same way that you can create clusters. Okay, you take this, you can let it dry completely, and then like we did yesterday when we cut this, the little clusters individually, you can come in and you can cut clusters off of here. Just know that as you're practicing, it's just the base, the band is going to get thicker and thicker, but no big deal. Okay, so if you want to practice and with your clusters, you can continue to do that, or you can just cut the tips off like we did, and then just have individual fibers that you can use to work with at a later time. Okay, so once this is completely dry, I'm not going to pull it now. I can see the glue has an iridescent color still, which means that it's still wet. When I'm done, I can come in and I can pop up the lashes. And I can see it's still wet because the lashes move very, very easily. So I'm going to push that back down, let it dry. But once I'm done, okay, and then doing this, you want to make sure as you're doing this on a client that the glue doesn't adhere to the bottom lash. But as you're doing this, okay, you want to be careful that the glue doesn't pull your lashes off, so be gentle. Once it's completely dry, then you can take your tweezers, you can pop off your strip lash, and now you have a strip lash that you can apply on a client. Should all of this be clean and usable for a client, of course, we're practicing with this, so this would not go on a person. Okay? All right, so don't forget to take your picture, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.